Alright, listen up. On today's show, I'm gonna tell you about Marie Curie. And no, she didn't invent curry, you knuckleheads. This woman literally died discovering radiation while you people probably think she ran a beauty salon or something. This isn't about some celebrity complaining about gluten, alright? This is about a real person who gave everything, and I mean everything, for science. She cracked open the universe, found elements, won 2 Nobel Prizes, and then she died because she wouldn't stop poking glow-in-the-dark rocks. Meanwhile, you're freaking out because your phone battery is at 15%. So let's go back. It's 1867. Poland. Not exactly the hotbed of scientific equality. Women? They weren't exactly welcome in universities. Marie, or Maria as she was called then, she was brilliant. Top of her class, insane memory. But the local university? Oh, a woman. Sorry, honey. Go learn to bake a cake or something. So what does she do? Does she sit around complaining? Does she start a change.org petition? No. She becomes a governess, works her ass off, saves every penny, and then she moves to Paris. That's in the 1890s. She enrolls at the Sorbonne, a real university, and she's living on bread and butter, studying till she passes out. She's probably got scurvy and chronic fatigue, but she's there, learning physics and math. She's basically sleeping under her desk and eating dirt so she can learn. That's dedication. You think your online course is tough? Try doing differential equations while your stomach thinks your throat has been cut. Seriously, the grit on this woman is unbelievable. Then she meets Pierre. Now usually when a brilliant woman meets a man, he tries to take credit for her work or mansplain the universe. But Pierre was actually cool. He was a scientist himself, a physicist. He sees her, this tiny, intense woman, and he's impressed. They get married and he becomes her biggest supporter. They're basically broke, living in this dingy little shed that they call a lab. No fancy equipment, no grant money, no venture capitalists throwing billions at them. Just 2 maniacs, in love, stirring giant vats of nasty radioactive goo. Can you imagine the smell? The fumes? They probably smelled like a cross between a battery acid factory and a burning dumpster fire. And they were just happy as clams, because they were doing science. They were in the zone. Meanwhile, your biggest relationship challenge is deciding who gets to pick the Netflix show. Fair enough. So they're obsessed with this stuff called pitch blende. It's an ore, and it's supposed to have uranium. But they realize this pitch blende is way more radioactive than it should be. It's like, whoa, something else is in here. So they start this ridiculously tedious process. They're grinding, dissolving, crystallizing, isolating, ton after ton of this pitch blende by hand in this freezing cold shed. For years, they're literally breathing in radioactive dust, watching these vials glow in the dark, and they're like, ooh, pretty, not realizing it's slowly turning their insides into soup. They discover 2 new elements. Polonium, named after her home country, Poland, a nice little nod, and then radium. Get this, she has to isolate just a tiny, tiny speck of radium from tons of material. It's like finding a specific grain of sand on 1,000 beaches. And she does it. She literally pulls a new element out of the universe by sheer will. What did you accomplish last week? Did you figure out how to reset your router? I'm just saying. So the French Academy of Sciences nominates Pierre and another dude for the Nobel Prize in Physics. Marie? Oh, she's just the little woman in the background stirring the pots. They don't even consider her. Pierre, being the stand-up guy he was, tells them, look, if you don't include Marie, I'm not accepting this thing. He basically says, you want me? You gotta take my brilliant wife too. And they grudgingly give in. So in 1903, they share the Nobel Prize in Physics. First woman to ever win a Nobel Prize. What a way to break the glass ceiling, huh? She didn't complain on Twitter. She just discovered a new element. Then disaster strikes. Pierre, her husband, gets run over by a horse-drawn carriage. Gone. Devastating. She's alone with 2 kids and a lab full of glowing deadly rocks. Most people would quit, go home, drink wine. But not Marie. She takes over Pierre's teaching position at the Sorbonne. First woman to ever be a professor there, by the way. And she keeps working. The scientific community is still giving her crap, saying she's just riding on Pierre's coattails. But then in 1911 she wins a second Nobel Prize. This time in chemistry for isolating pure radium. Solo. She's the only person in history to win Nobel Prizes in 2 different scientific fields. Ever. A woman from Poland doing this while basically being scoffed at by every old dude in a tweed jacket. And she's doing all this while her hands are getting burned. She's feeling tired all the time. She's literally glowing from the radiation she's handling. She didn't know it was killing her. She carried vials of radium in her pocket because they were so pretty. Her lab notebooks are still so radioactive you can't touch them today without protection. Then World War I hits. And what does Marie do? Does she run for the hills? No. She invents these mobile X-ray units, called petite Curies, little Curies. She drives them to the front lines herself, with her daughter, taking X-rays of wounded soldiers to help save lives. She's literally dodging bullets while making sure some poor grunt doesn't lose a limb unnecessarily. She eventually dies in 1934 from aplastic anemia, a direct result of all that radiation exposure. She literally gave her life for science. No complaints, no lawsuits, no woe is me documentaries. just pure, unadulterated dedication. She found 2 elements, won 2 Nobels, helped save countless lives, and opened the door for women in science, all while being a single mom. So next time you're getting mad about your sourdough starter not rising, or complaining about your online dating profile, just think about Marie Curie, the woman who died so we could understand the very fabric of the universe. She was a luminary mind, the real deal.